Yeah. Math doesn't look up for Don't tell me.
Welcome, everyone, to the Washington County Board of Commissioners meeting for this July 2nd, 2024. We appreciate those who are visiting with us and accomplishing the business of the county. We ask that those who are in attendance, that we appreciate you here, but also know very well that the county is well run, and that as commissioners we appreciate interaction with our department heads and of course our citizens. Having said that, we'll begin with an invocation by Michael Cruz of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. It was wonderful to get to chat with you. And I asked him, I said, are you Reverend, Pastor? And he said, I'm Michael.
Yes. Thank you, Commissioner. And we bring you greetings from the Unitarian Fellowship here in St. George. And thank you very much for your service to the county. And this is the first time I've been here. This building is beautiful.
Thank you.
So we have much to be proud of. I wrote this poem today, and it's called Independence Day, which is going to happen in a couple days. I am independent, and thank God I am free. What may be right for you may not be right for me. Offer your opinion, then say what's up with you. But here is my advice, don't tell me what to do. Laws are often needed, but some I'd like to nix. That's why we became a nation in 1776. They protested bravely in Boston with tea. They said it wasn't fair, so they dumped in the sea. Thank God for our freedoms, our rights and liberty. I'm often not very brave, but I certainly am free. This speech will now end. You'll soon suffer no more, but I'm wishing you an independent July 4.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Had that on his mind, but put it down on paper today. Thank you so much. All right, next we'd love to have our Pledge of Allegiance by a good friend and friend of the county, and from Captain Hall of Vietnam Veterans of America today being represented. Thank you, and we'll follow your lead.
The audience, please rise. Join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. One of Captain Hall's, his son worked for us, and I could leave the country for a year and know everything would have been just fine with Corey's work. So thank you for him and for your dear family.
I'd like to thank the Commission for the Board of President. You would know, veterans were our soldiers weren't always appreciated when I was in the service, and we do appreciate the support now. And I've always felt the support because of you.
Great. Well, you
Thank
certainly
so much
have
for
it.
your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And for those who are in attendance or viewing this recorded, the banners are back up. It's the way we feel about celebrating this week, and of course throughout the year are showing forth our patriotism for our great country and county. Having said that, our first agenda item is our consent agenda. It's a means of expediting the consideration of routine matters. If a commissioner requests that items be removed from the consent agenda, those items are placed at the beginning of the regular agenda. Other than requests to remove items, a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda is not debatable.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt our consent agenda consisting of the following items. A, consideration of auditor-approved claims for payments for June 19th, 2024 through July 2nd, 2024. B, consideration of commission meeting minutes of June 18th, 2024. C, consideration of administrative adjustments, personal property. D, consideration of administrative adjustments for real property. E, consideration of amendment to agreement for treatment of invasive species and noxious weeds. F, consideration of 5th District Court bailiff contract. And I hope they treated us better on that contract than they have in the past. And G, consideration of resolution number R-2024-3326, a resolution correcting a resolution and interlocal agreement that was previously approved. And that's the interlocal agreement with Ivans for animal shelter services. And that's my motion on our consent agenda.
I second the motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Next, our presentation of the year in review 2023. We had several projects and highlights that we wanted to bring to the attention of the citizens as well as the county and employees. And therefore, this is one dealing with the Children's Justice Center. Our county attorney, Eric Clark, seated on the stand with us. Welcome, Eric. Has supervision over that, and we certainly appreciate that arm of helping to deal with kiddos in the county that have suffered some sort of abuse.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, as we
Yeah.
hit play on that, it is great that we have our county attorney, Eric Clark, here, because this is something that falls, under his preview, as you mentioned, and fantastic.
The acting is not very good, but the cinematography is excellent. In 2023, we've been able to accomplish the start of an expansion to the Children's Justice Center. Many people don't know what services are provided there, but can I tell you, we've talked about a lot of things that affect us as adults, citizens, visitors, etc. But there's also a large population of our children for which our schools and law enforcement always look out for. But there's also a small group of those innocent children who have need of services provided by the Children's Justice Center. Quite frankly, it's outgrown its space. Thanks to a lease of land from Intermountain Healthcare, we were able to expand the campus of the current Children's Justice Center. This new facility has a lot of capacity that they are bursting at their seams with right now. For example, Intermountain Healthcare has a Safe and Healthy Families program where pediatric abuse is addressed by their medical team. It will also have interview rooms, conference rooms, and training space, all for which they are now unable to accomplish in a very open and yet private way for these victims of abuse.
The Children's Justice Center expansion is a collaborative effort between Intermountain Healthcare, Washington County, the City of St. George, the State of Utah, and other private partners. Intermountain Healthcare had some land, but they were looking on what they needed to do to develop that and what would be the best use. Washington County came with a proposal that really fit with Intermountain Healthcare's primary promise, which is to build a better model health system for children. The expansion of the Children's Justice Center fit that use, and so we were able to obtain a 50-year lease on that land to develop this expansion to really serve the children, those victims of abuse that Commissioner Almquist talked about, and to try and divert them from a life of trauma and to give them the resources necessary right after that trauma has been inflicted upon them, the things that they've witnessed or experienced, and to give them the resources to heal early on for these children who are victims of these events.
This expansion on the Children's Justice Center, for me personally, represents what is the very best in our county. You have an issue that's very serious. It impacts our children, people who are so young and victims of crime. But yet what we see is so many great public and private partners coming together to rush in and to meet that need. And to have a facility like this that will be warm and welcoming for those young children, those young lives that need help at this time. We have had tremendous partnership with Watts Construction, MRW Design. Many of their subs have donated tremendously to make sure that this facility will be there to welcome those victims of abuse and help give them some of the tools to heal and to overcome abuse in our community. It's what makes our county great when we come together like this, even though this is a very serious issue, very difficult. It's great to see so many great partners rallying to the cause. in order to meet the needs of these victims in our community.
Thank you for running that, Sarah. Again, we didn't think you got it the first time. Eric, would you mind commenting? I know this is off the cuff, but just the value of what you see the CJC accomplishes over there and the service it provides for the county.
Oh, thanks. It's been a while, right? Unfortunately, the toughest cases to prosecute usually are sex crimes cases. And that's because evidence is hard and things, but sex crimes, when a child is involved, are the toughest of the tough, right? Because a lot of times they're years and years later, or you're dealing with younger children who, I mean, in the olden days, would have had to have sat on a witness stand in court and gotten cross-examined just like anybody else. And so you can imagine that deterred prosecution. So children's justice centers are great because they're all about two things. First and foremost, they're helping us get the best evidence so that we can prosecute the most cases of child abuse possible. But they also provide a space where kids can come and be addressing and disclosing the horrible things that have happened to them, where we're re-traumatizing them as little as possible in the process. And then the expansion is all about offering additional services and trying to help those victims and their families so that they can grow up to become happy, healthy members of society as adults. And children's justice centers are a great thing. Ours, I'll do a shout out to ours, where we recently have been working really hard. There's a national certification process, and the state has been encouraging us to be involved in doing those things, and it involves a lot of checklists. A couple of weeks ago, Commissioner Almquist and I sat in on an interview as part of that review for that from out-of-state reviewers, and they just couldn't say enough positive things about how we were operating, what we do, the level of service that we provide in our county. It was fun to kind of hear they did the interview with us, and then they said, now normally we don't give feedback at this point. We kind of go back and circle and talk, but they couldn't stop themselves from taking a couple of minutes and just telling us how great our Children's Justice Center was doing.
Well, thank you for sharing. I know that a lot of abuse that occurs and is found out by somebody, maybe an ecclesiastical leader, maybe a neighbor, they're not